Hold up. We get any viewers jumping on in, guys.
What's
We
going
are
on?
live. Welcome in, everybody. It is Wednesday night. Beautiful, frosty Wednesday night. It's been raining a lot out here in the desert, Arizona. So anytime we get that kind of weather, hey, we are all about it. So if you're on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, hey, join in, say hi, what's up, drop a comment. We're diving right in. NFL divisional round. Um, First of all, let's touch on the recap of Wild Card Weekend. Uh, Obviously, Mason called the correct prediction there with the Cowboys. Um, Pretty much just dismantling the Buccaneers. Byron Leftwich already fired at this point. Yeah, take us through your recap. How did you do? I mean, obviously you hit that one on. I think everywhere else we got straight on. I had the Vikings winning, obviously as a Vikings fan, but they're gonna Viking, and they exactly did that. So Um, yeah, wild card recap. Anything that stood out to you that was different than what you expected?
Well, I mean, between you, Mac, and I on the last episode, I mean, collectively, we did a pretty good job painting the picture of what ended up happening. He got the Giants game right, beating Minnesota. We both were on the Vikings train, which I'm still surprised that that game played out the way it did. I really am. I know the Vikings are flawed, but
Yeah,
just
damn.
surprised. So yeah, I mean, between the three of us, it's a pretty good job of forecasting. He got that right. Me and you were both on Jaguars over LA. That obviously happened. Um, that I had the Tampa Bay Dallas game spot on pinned. I mean, exactly what I expected to see that I worried about and talked about
I
all
mean,
year because
it
it was
was
so bad.
atrocious. Yeah.
They did it again. I think the point when I realized that they were just going to continue to do that was probably when they had that late season loss to the Panthers, where I mean they were just getting shut out for 3 quarters by a bad team, and I was like, this is a problem. It's one way to lose, but the way they were losing was just told me not a contender.
Yeah, I saw in a video or a tweet today somebody had said that upper ownership or management had talked to Todd Bowles mid-season when they were like not had just broken 500 or they were below 500, and they're like, "Hey, like we're trying to fire Byron Leftwich. Like, what do you think? You want to let him go?" And he was like, "Nah, let's ride out the season." And I don't know. I mean, you can't pin all the blame on him. Performance wasn't great. Brady didn't play his best year. Mike Evans didn't play his best year till late in the game. Godwin was banged up. They had injuries. Ryan Jensen was hurt, but just poor play, unacceptable play. I think that team is all but blown up. I have heard later um, in the rumor mill today, just through Twitter and beat writers, Gronkowski largely considering coming back to play one more full season next year. I mean, there was speculation he might join somebody for the playoffs, but uh, and that could be Brady and Gronkowski going somewhere to play one more year together and hang it up, and which I think happens. It was such a bad loss for him. I think he ends up going somewhere else, trying to get one more crack at it, and then hanging it up after next season. Um, and then wow, the Jags Chargers game. I think everybody was just mind blown. I had a feeling I did win. I actually won a money line bet on them once they hit the 2 point conversion and they were down 30-28. I think it was. I put in the money line bet on the Jags. So, but yeah, I mean, I think other than that, we hit it pretty well. Um, Eagles Giants coming up. So we got big games, but did you hit any big bets over the weekend? Any other wins? It was a
Didn't I mean it was a pretty light weekend. I mean there were two sheets, so overall you just don't go into it expecting a win with two.
all
So
right.
it was just kind of like a little taste, little action. Didn't want to go too haywire where I'm just flipping through pages and getting stress, tension, headaches during the game. I mean, at some point you just have to enjoy football, especially when you look at my win loss record on the sheets. It's like, man, I can't live around it. So, but yeah, we'll see what this weekend holds. Obviously, a little bit less action going on, so it kind of the microscope really zooms in on you at this point with every time you roll the dice. So
It does, but I feel like this is the time of the year you can start pinning together some wins because there's less bullshit to bet on, so you don't spread yourself thin. Um,
true.
I had a reckless wild card weekend. I went 1 of 7 on all my sheets. Ended up negative $47 on the weekend. So not big loss, but no win. So not typically what you want to see. Um, I mean that one win Jacksonville, but that was a small money. Really, like I said, was I had a feeling they were going to win, and I held off because I was like, and I let him come back, and I could have got him for plus 1,000. So, and then you saw I don't know if you saw the video on Twitter, the guy that bet on them, this Chargers fan, and then fell asleep, and his friend just wakes him up at the end. He's just fell asleep in a weed coma. He just pokes him. He's like, "Bro, they lost. They lost," and he just wakes up and looks at the TV, and it's like Trevor Lawrence just jumping around. Just confetti, and he's just, like, so confused. I'm like, "Oh, I would be too." Like, the worst nap ever.
That's yeah, that's really bad. Pat has told me actually, man, at least 3 or 4 times this year, PB has told me stories like usually in the first half of the season this happened, where he would just wake up on Sundays just in a haze and just realize the last leg just got cooked. I'm like, me personally, if there's a leg left, I can't fall asleep. I mean, it's just not how
Yeah.
I'm like I'm awake, but like I actually that by that time when that game was starting, everything was done for me. So it was just like, meaningless football, just excited to watch it. But I did fall asleep as well. Stakes or no stakes, I just woke up in the dark and the TV had like auto shut itself off, and I was like, man, what night is this? I just turn it back on. I'm like, oh yeah, Sunday, and I see it, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, I basically when they were down like 24, I just fell asleep. Like I just had blackout curtains shut, and then I just woke up, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad this wasn't like a pivotal like stretch for me because man, ooh,
What's odd enough is I have better luck when I just fall asleep and forget that I bet. And then, like, those are the ones I win. I shit you not, like, if I fall asleep or I go on a trip or anything, I end up winning those. Like, there was one, I put the bet in, forgot about it, had got the new phone, didn't even have DraftKings, opened the app and just saw more money in there. I'm like, hilarious. I'm like, just play some bet, like some random parlay like 5 days ago. Just open it up, saw it. That happens a lot to me with college basketball games too, late night. Just like back and whack games and I just fall asleep and just live bet and then wake up to just more money. I'm like,
the last time that happened to me. So Fubo TV, as you probably recall, they operated a sports book for a small period of time and then shut down all business operations. Sent out a
that's
letter.
hilarious.
But while they were in operation for a small window, that's the last time that happened to me because it was like is 7 leg $2 to win like 500, and it was just all MLB, and like this was probably I think it was like after I'd been to like one D-backs game since I started getting tickets for work, so it wasn't like deep into it. I really wasn't even. I still don't pay that much attention, but I clearly had less of a clue then. And like, yeah, I just woke up the next day, logged in, like $500. I'm like, well, I look at it, and it's all just green checks on like the Phillies money
That's
line.
hilarious.
I'm like, wow. So it happens.
Yep. Gotta bet. Just odd. Because when you overthink it, things don't work out. So well, guys, NFL divisional round is here. Um, quick update for next week. Special Pro Bowl edition. I will be in Orlando, Florida, on the patio with Sandhill Cranes, crocodiles in the backdrop. So we're looking forward to that. But as of right now, it's divisional round weekend. We start with a very, very hype and anticipated game, but don't think it's going to be all that great. Jacksonville going to Kansas City, 2:30 game. Chiefs 7-1 at home. Jaguars, from what I heard, is just like they've played a lot of games and a lot of close. Like their steam's gonna run out at some point. They've just been winning and winning to like basically get into the playoffs and even get to this round. So Yeah, the buck stops here. I mean, there's no doubt about it in my mind that the Chiefs probably blow this game out of the water, and there's no magical Jaguar run this time. They're just too young.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're just too young. Chiefs too experienced, and they're ready for this game. I could be completely wrong, but don't see it happening. I got the Chiefs
No.
covering. It's a 9-point spread, 53 total, and we might see some rain, 40 degrees. But what do you got on here? Jaguars going to Kansas City, 2:30 game, NBC.
Yeah, I mean, same thing as you. I'm in a full agreement that it should be a blowout. The Chiefs aren't going to give you the window that LA gave Jacksonville to come back. So you clearly can't fall in that hole. But to me, I think they're gonna fall in that hole, and that's the problem. They're not gonna get out. I mean, this team's too good. The Chiefs are locked in. No disrespect at all to Doug Peterson, who has been more than a revelation, really, for the Jags this season. But Andy Reid, I mean, look, listen, there's a lot of hours logged under that mustache. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big factor that we're gonna see play out this weekend as well. So I'll go Kansas City 34, Jacksonville 17.
Yeah, it's a game where Kansas City by all means should cover. If you like the Travis Kelsey touchdown, like a lot of people do, hey, put money on it now. Travis Kelsey in time touchdown.
I already did. Let's go.
um, so it's coming. Sometime I might even like it as a first touchdown. I went with a couple last week. They were all busts. Was not a good first touchdown pick week for me. But it's a different feeling when you're in Chiefs Kingdom and you got Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game as the number one seed at home. Different, totally different. Kermit Mahomes and the Chiefs roll, no doubt about it.
A lot of love to Trevor Lawrence for showing up to the local Waffle House after the game. I mean, I think that's a really fun community, just, thing to do, like just hanging out at Waffle House. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
you
That's what you
can't
want to
beat it.
see right there, straight out of a Disney movie.
I'm like, man, if this ever blew up and we're just, rolling high, we just got to show up to a Waffle House in just Johnstown, Indiana.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
Yep,
funny.
all the time.
Can't
Just
ever
go
forget about Waffle House.
random Waffle House. I mean, honestly, it would be pretty funny, like to do a live podcast at a Waffle House.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm?
Absolutely. Somebody brought up Waffle House today at work, and I was like, yeah, I saw somebody tweet a couple weeks ago. If the person at Waffle House cooking doesn't have the minimum 3 felonies, don't even touch the grill. And I'm like, that's how I feel. I'm like, you don't need to don't even turn it on. Don't power up the flame. Don't hold this. There's no need for a spatula. Need to know that you have been tried in the court of law. And, I mean, that's how you know a good cook at Waffle House.
100%. I wonder how much it is to buy a Waffle House and just like operate one. Like not really do
Man,
just ownership,
that's
just
gotta be
Waffle House
entertaining.
ownership.
You're just getting calls from a manager stressed out, smoking cigs month to month. Got another fight.
Yeah, just man, like, hey, that's what we're known for. Waffle House.
Right. Oh yeah, you want to talk about a manager whose job's not in danger. You call me, listen, I'm telling you, you got a long leash. You're a manager at Waffle House. Like there's very little you could do to lose this head coaching spot other than basically short of assaulting a customer himself, then I've got to change directions. But
Right. Yeah. Long leash. Just Tom Allen, just 3-win seasons. Just
damn,
keep
he
coming
said
back.
Tom Allen, man, a longer leash than a fucking what's that movie called? Uh I can't remember now, but anyway, yeah, too funny.
Waffle House legends. Yeah. And me and Grim Reaper used to frequent the Waffle House. Pendleton
Oh,
Pike, Indiana.
in there more than the fucking mayor of Pendleton himself, just out there eating hog omelets at 4 a.m. when you should be in bed.
100%. God. Jaguars, Chiefs, the Waffle House Bowl, formerly known as there at Chiefs Kingdom. So yeah, we don't expect anything much. Probably like the under though at 53. What do you think? I do. I think I like the under at 53. I think we're going to clock in around 51. You
I do like that. I mean, and I predicted 34-17, so that actually, yeah, that falls right at the under. So I feel good about it because it's like a case where either Chiefs score a lot and the Jaguars score a little, or they each score medium and the Chiefs,
right, and yeah, they're
win.
right there and still hit 51. I think it's a generous line. I think it's a generous line. It's nice. The 9 points. I think the Chiefs definitely hit that. Um, yeah, they should. I mean, they should, unless there's that backdoor touchdown, but don't think that happens. Giants and Eagles. Now, this one's a little interesting, mainly because it's divisional round. It's a divisional rivalry game in the divisional round in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts is not 100%. The Eagles have blown everybody out this year. They're 14-3, just like the Chiefs, 7-2 at home. The Giants have been hot, and I think they got a good coach. I think like it just depends on what does Daniel Jones do. Can you trust Daniel Jones now in the divisional round in his first playoffs? Um, that's really what it comes. And then the health, of course, the health of Jalen Hurts. But I think there's too much to go around offensively for the Eagles. Miles Sanders has been great. AJ Brown. I think the Eagles pull away with this one. Although I will say Giants plus the 7.5, plus the 8 points, and the total is 48. So I kind of like the over on the points in this game, but I like the Giants plus 7.5. Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown. He's going to continue to carry this Giants team. As far as Saquon Barkley can carry them, they will go. And then can the defense not melt down? But anything different you see here? 48 total, 8-point spread, 44 degrees. Giants Eagles on Fox 6:15 game Saturday night.
Well, I mean, after that Giants win, I really do understand the angle of how people could come in heavily thinking about a Giants upset. I mean, I could see it. It's pretty much right in front of me. Like divisional foes, Daniel Jones playing the best football of his career. Brian Dable. I mean, wow, cannot say enough there. How good of a job he's done coaching that team. But when I step back and start to kind of remove those things and think about the football side of it only, I don't see the Philadelphia defense giving the Giants the room that they had when they played Minnesota last week. Week in, week out, we saw the
Yeah.
Vikings manipulated, dominated, diced up. At one point, the Detroit Lions offense, I thought they were ordained by God, playing the Vikings. It got that bad at sometimes, but the Eagles aren't like that. They're sturdy. They're very much a disciplined defense. And I think that Jalen Hurts is going to have a little bit of trouble coming back to full strength, full speed this game, but the Eagles should be able to get it done based off of a strong defensive effort.
Yeah, I think they said it's his shoulder or something like that is what it was. Or um and yeah, just run the ball a little bit, try not to take hits, give the ball to Miles Sanders a lot, short passes to AJ Brown. And I think they're gonna be all right. I think they'll be all right. If there is an upset, this is gonna be it though this week for sure. That division game. And again, guys, the Giants, remember, like anytime the Giants are just 9-7 and barely make the playoffs, they just win the Super Bowl somehow. Like, I mean, they had Eli Manning then for those, but that's exactly what happened. And they're following that same trajectory now, 9-7-1, 4-4 on the road. They are the road
That's just the
team.
type of organization they are. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like
Like
they
it's like
road
they
team
just
it to
love
the
it.
Super Bowl. Like, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, if you're on the upset sticks, hey, this might be the one if you want to go Giants money line, but for me, I'm not. I'm taking the Giants plus the 7.5. Eagles win, and Miles Sanders gets in the end zone for the touchdown for me. Prop bets for you on this one. Um, parlay it really because like I said, Barkley, I think it's going to be a shoe in for an easy touchdown, and with Hurt's shoulder, less of him, more of Miles Sanders. So parlay that one up for me. 2 touchdowns, Saquon and Miles Sanders.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. The one thing I would add that I think happens is a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. I think on a play, like a drop back in the goal line and where he would normally throw it, I think he takes
It's in
off due
there.
to
Yeah.
just, yeah, due to just like, he's getting back into it. Maybe he questions the pass and then he just runs it in. So for sure.
Bengals, Bills. Moving on to Sunday games. Bengals, Bills. This one is in Orchard Park, New York, 33 degrees. Bengals are 12-4. Bills 13-3. As we know, they didn't finish their game um, in week, was it 17 or 18? I think it was 17.
That's right.
They didn't finish their game. It was canceled. So they are going to pick up and resume where they left off. It's a total of 48. Buffalo is favored by 6. Going to be very cold. Both teams are used to playing in the cold, but I think it still slightly favors the Bills here, being that Joe Burrow played in LSU, and then over here, Ohio does get cold. Don't get me wrong, but Orchard Park, New York, cold's a little different. When you're out there close to the water. Um, I think Buffalo wins this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals do, but I think Buffalo is the more complete team. I think the offensive line is still a question mark. I think 3 of the guys are hurt at the moment or banged up on the Bengals line. So I think the Bills are just a more complete team right now, and those injuries are going to be enough to give Joe Burrow a problem and force him an interception, maybe even 2, sadly. But give me Bills on this one. I think Buffalo actually does cover the 6. Give me the Bills to win this one 29-21.
I'm going to take the Bengals upset. Um, I really have been a huge Buffalo favoring, as far as like picks goes, I've favored them a lot this year. I think that if they were completely healthy, that I would be banking on them. We're talking with Hamlin in, with Von Miller in. Um, Both teams have a couple issues, but I just think it's a good matchup for the Bengals. They're from Cincinnati. They're not new to snow. I don't think that'll throw them off. I know it'll be cold, but they've been in that before. So I like a big game from Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow to just make just enough plays to walk in there and steal a dub.
Yeah, if the Bengals can get back to the Super Bowl, that would be insane. I mean, that's huge. If you lose the Super Bowl, you usually don't get in and this far. And they've played well. Like you said, they turned it around. This would be to me, this is the game of the weekend, even though you have the Cowboys 49ers, which more people are kind of going to be watching just because of the history of the franchises and the old school rivalry back in the day. Um, Bengals Bills is going to be the game to watch. Probably the close and overtime, maybe an overtime game. Hey, if you want to smash that overtime special on DraftKings, does the game go to overtime? It just might. So touchdowns in this one. I like the ground game. I'm going to go Singletary anytime touchdown Buffalo. Um, I want to say Jamar Chase because I don't think he got in last time. But Jamar Chase, sure.
Another cool thing too that's like unfolding is just in front of us is just like, man, these matchups of Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, and then like last year Josh Allen versus Mahomes, like this is the new future. Like this is the era that's here. That's gonna be there for a long time. Like buckle in. Like it's cool because you had those early battles. 2000s we used to watch Brady versus Manning, Donovan McNabb versus Kurt Warner. So it's just really cool to see changing of the guard. I mean, Bengals back a year later, no sophomore slump. So it leads me to believe that Burrow is going to be in the postseason for years to come.
Yeah, no, they look good. Chargers, unfortunately they blew that big lead. Herbert, of course, really talented as well. And then you got Hurts on the Eagles. I mean, then Trevor Lawrence, of course, the Jags. It's that time, and Brock Purdy with the Niners. If he keeps it up, he's played pretty well. Um, yeah, I mean Brady and Rodgers are the last two hanging around, and that's still debatable whether they will be back next. I think they both will play one more year each and both retire at the same time. But um, it's a lot of fun because yeah, we've seen tons of guys come and go, and now it's a new crop all in together and pretty well. So that brings us to the night game, Sunday night, Cowboys 49ers. Actually at 4:30 out here, so it's not too late out east, 6:30 Eastern time. Dak Prescott, Cowboys go to the Bay against Brock Purdy and the Niners. And yeah, I mean, all eyes are definitely going to be on this one. It's probably going to break, viewership records and stuff. But what do you see here? Veteran quarterback Dak Prescott, who hasn't really fully broken through in his career. He shows flashes of greatness and then they lose against Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, playing hot. And then to me, the best constructed team in football, uh, offensively and defensively. I mean, they are just as complete as complete can be. 8-1 at home, 56 perfect weather, 4-point spread favoring the Niners, and a 46 total. I like the over on this one for sure.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool game. I mean, big time rivals when you look at history. And I actually would have to look. I can't remember the last time that Dallas played San Francisco in a playoff game that I watched live. So that's kind of a fun backstory to watch. But I took the Cowboys last weekend, and I am gonna take them again, which is surprising. I think anybody that knows me that talks football, like you don't hear me pick the Cowboys much
Oh
or
yeah.
express a lot of confidence in them. But I was hot on the trail last weekend, and that paid off. And I think it does again for a couple reasons. I mean, Brock Purdy, he kind of showed some concerns last weekend, and the Cowboys defense is notably better than the pressure Seattle brings. And I just think that on this day, Dak Prescott's going to have a better game and a really tight defensive football game. I actually don't like the over here because I'm coming at this thinking that the defenses are really going to show out. But I like Dallas to win this thing probably 23-20. Um, After a couple late plays from Dak, I just think Brock Purdy, as good as he's been, this moment might be a little bit too big. And if you try to just run with McCaffrey all day, Cowboys will just stack the box. So another Dallas win coming up in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I don't. Brock Purdy has not played against Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs yet, and he's going to face him this week in a big time game, divisional playoffs, limelight Sunday night. If there's a game where Brock Purdy plays like a seventh round draft pick, probably going to be this one. It's all on the pressure. What does Micah Parsons do? Can they contain him? Um, Only way 49ers to me win this game is if Brock Purdy plays efficient but dink and dunk, and it's Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and then that 49er defense forces Dak into interceptions and slows down Zeke and Pollard. That's the only way. Going back to what you said, I think that does absolutely change my mind. The total of 46, that's definitely going to be the under because both defenses are pretty good. And Brock Purdy's going to play a lot slower. You're not going to see this 300-yard, 4-touchdown game, which those were inflated numbers, by the way, too. Like, I don't care what anybody says because a lot of them were short passes that were turned into big yaks and then the touchdowns. So I don't know.
Right.
Like he's played well, but those were inflated numbers to just put up that graphic with like Joe Montana and Kurt Warner and Brock Purdy. I'm like, I mean, come on, guys. Like, I get it. The numbers are there, but we're reaching for Disney stars at this point. So, um,
No,
yeah,
yeah, it
fuck,
is
man. Like,
tough.
I'm gonna take 49ers to win a close one, to win by the field goal. Slightly opposite of what you had there, but yeah, I do think that sounds about right. 23-20 sounds dead on. Um, 23-17 even. But 49ers, I think, are going to hold on to this one just because their defense and they can basically just lean off of Brock Purdy. If he does start playing bad, they can be like, it's cool, like no worries. That's my take there. Um, Debo Samuel, I'm going to say Debo Samuel touchdown on this one.
Didn't he get one last week?
He did. He got in. I didn't pick him last week, but I liked what I saw a lot. And a lot of eyes are going to be on McCaffrey and Purdy. So I like Debo with probably a rushing touchdown, but that's the beauty of the anytime. Pop it on the
Yeah.
sheet. So
Yeah, we'll see. Big time rivalry from the past reignited. So it'll be really just overall, it's going to be a great game.
and then as of today, of course, we heard multiple different rumblings, but quarterback situations. It sounds like the Miami Dolphins are sticking with Tua. Derek Carr obviously moving on. It sounds like Aaron Rodgers is now moving on at this point from the Packers, and a lot of people feel like Tom Brady is moving on from the Buccaneers. That does leave a couple holes on their respective teams, so there could be like some flip and flop type of stuff. However, the Jets did interview Nathaniel Hackett, which was offensive coordinator for Aaron Rodgers a couple years ago. Again, I was tweeting back and forth with a Packers fan about this earlier. The guy was saying, hey, like Nathaniel Hackett, something about basically like Nathaniel Hackett had something to do with Aaron Rodgers, or he got Aaron Rodgers his MVPs. I'm like, let's get real clear about this. Nathaniel Hackett was in a Packers jacket on the sideline during Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams' prime with Mike McCarthy. He did not get Aaron Rodgers those MVPs. If he did, he would have turned this Broncos team into a playoff team, and that was obvious what happened. So that's interesting to me. But for some reason, something in my head tells me that like there's a path for Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to go to the Jets. And I think that kind of makes sense because they need some offense there. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up on the Raiders with Devontae Adams again, right? He has his offense stacked around him. And then I think Derek Carr I'm still heavy on Derek Carr to Indianapolis. I think Derek Carr to Indianapolis it's pretty big. But what's your take on the quarterback situations, especially down in Miami? I mean, to me, I think if Miami goes after a Lamar Jackson or a Tom Brady, they can win now and preserve Tua. But just a lot of quarterback talk, a lot of moving parts right now, a lot of rumors. What do you have on the quarterback thoughts, and where do you see these guys ending up?
Tom Brady, I think let's start with that. That's the biggest question. Obviously, there's still questions if he wants to play football. I know he's kind of hinted at it, but he is getting closer and closer to 50. I know Warren Moon, really was kind of a spectacle in that regard that he was that age playing the game of football, but um, I don't know. I don't know where I can see Brady going now. I think it's pretty early. That one I'm kind of lost on. Aaron Rodgers, I agree with you. There's a strong chance he ends up in Las Vegas. Kind of winding down his career. He kind of just comes off like he wants to win, but he wants to have fun, and be around players he knows, guys that he can trust, championship caliber wide receivers. The Raiders are a couple offensive linemen signings away from being, to me, you had a good O line and Aaron Rodgers. That's an 11-win team.
Mhm.
Even if they had some attrition and some injuries, right? If you keep the line intact, I think they're good enough to be that. So I could see him going to the Raiders. But if that did not pan out, I can see. I know there's been a lot of commitment to Tua. I can see Dolphins stepping in and wanting to have a conversation with Aaron Rodgers because that roster is built to win right now. Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson, you go out and acquire Bradley Chubb. I mean, everything about this says this isn't a 5-year plan. They want to get it, soon. So I would be making some calls. Aaron Rodgers to me is either going to be a Raider or a Dolphin. And then as far as Derek Carr goes, it sounds like Indianapolis kind of closed the door on that. So we'll see what happens, but I would not be surprised to see some trade news drop and him end up in a Vikings uniform. I don't know if you would want to see that as a Vikings fan, but Kirk Cousins might be on the move. They're probably at least some rumblings about turning the page in Minnesota right now, so that'll be something to watch.
Yeah, there's so many, and then the 49ers, right? Like, are they going to commit to Jimmy G? You got Trey Lance coming back from injury, and then you got Brock Purdy, who's played well. But I still think if you go out and get Rodgers or Carr or Brady, you're still better than any one of those three guys for one season. And while the 49ers are this good, I think it's something you have to entertain. Because like having McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, all these guys right now, like it's a magical time, but primes shut down quick, windows slam shut. And if you don't win, like because they're the NFC Dolphins, like I mean, it's just like they're built to win now. Tyreek Hill's not getting any younger. Waddle's playing great. Sounds like Mike Gesicki is gone for the Dolphins. I don't know. I really like Lamar Jackson to the Dolphins because he's that big market kind of guy. The Ravens just haven't provided that to him. So like, everything in me just wants to see him there because I think he would have a lot of fun. It would be fun for the Dolphins, and then yeah, you might start to get some other big, and then OBJ would probably go over there, right? Become their third receiver once he rehabs the knee. So like, there's things that would make next season really freaking fun. Um, and yeah, I think Rodgers going back with Devontae Adams would be huge. If Gronk came back and played one more season with Brady, would be. I also heard Adam Thielen is likely done in Minnesota, and
Wow, that's surprising.
he's also talked to Aaron Rodgers. They're pretty close, so there's rumors of them going to the same team together. So just so much going on, and then you have the Titans, who are a playoff team with Derrick Henry in his prime and a pretty decent defense on occasion. They can be leaky at times, but they're a solid quarterback away from being at least getting back to a good playoff team. So you got to keep the eye on them. And then the draft. You have CJ Stroud, announcing he's going into the draft. So now I'm starting to think, do the Bears, the Cardinals, these types of teams, do they strongly consider just trading back? Because there's teams out there that are horrible that need a quarterback. And this is going to be like, there's going to be some decent quarterbacks in the top 15 that teams like, I don't think the Bears and the Cardinals are going to really go after. Um, so what's your take there from what are you hearing from the Bears? Are they still leaning toward committed Justin Fields, or is this like, hey, we're still evaluating and might draft a quarterback with the first pick?
Well, from everything Ryan Poles has told the media, they are in an evaluation stage. They are very complimentary of Justin Fields. It seems like they want him around, um, but they also haven't shut the door on a trade. And I think to me the biggest hurdle for Chicago and well, start with them, you asked about that, but the biggest hurdle for Chicago would be that I think the teams that are picking number two, number three beyond, I think they know that the Bears, no matter what Ryan Poles is saying, I think they know that the Bears really don't need or feel desperation for a quarterback. So the Bears aren't going to have as much leverage, I think, in getting what they want back. You know, I think that teams know that they are pretty comfortable in drafting number one. Because here's the thing, odds are the Bears go defense or they go offensive line, with that number one pick, in my opinion. And then the Texans can easily get their quarterback. The number three pick, they can look at a quarterback if they want. So I don't know, but I have a feeling if I had to guess on it now, I have a feeling Chicago does not draft a quarterback. They do evaluate everything, but they ultimately come back to Justin Fields because CJ Stroud just is Justin Fields again from the same school, and then you just have no O line. So I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. But definitely the Cardinals. I think new general manager Monty Ossenfort is going to look at trading back. He said, look, he's aware the phone's going to be ringing during the draft. They're going to look at packages, and they're going to rehaul everything. I mean, this organization in here in Arizona is in a spot where they need a shakeup. They need new names. They need people to know that their jobs are on the line and that rookies are coming for them because there was just so much lethargic energy in Glendale this season. From realistically from the coaching staff to the players. I mean, it just did not seem like many guys
Yeah, it was
cared.
bad. Like JJ Watt was the only person that like cared to be out there. Everyone
Him
else
and
was just like,
Buda
fuck it.
Baker, Buda
Yep.
Baker, and J.J. Watt. Other than that, if I'm Arizona, I don't care if everybody from that defense just doesn't show up to work after the offseason. Like you got to plug and play.
That's why I don't know. Like, I just don't know how people can hang around and even interview Vance Joseph for the head coaching job. I'm like, I would just reshuffle the deck, like make a big splash. It sounds like they're going to trade DeAndre Hopkins, so just move Hopkins. Try to get a first round pick, even if it's late. Like, I don't know if they'll like he's older now, but try to get a first round pick, and then maybe move the third pick for a fucking star, Derrick Henry. Fuck, trade for Derrick Henry. Like, take some pressure off Kyler Murray. Trade the third pick for Derrick Henry. I don't know. I mean, just some ideas here we're throwing at the wall, but like, Yeah, you think if you're one of these teams, you have to trade down if you don't need a quarterback, and you'll be able to get some good pieces. So that's what I look to see. Um, as far as predictions here, who do you have coming out so far into the title games? Um, I know we talked about it here, but um, if you were to pick today, like right now, based on what we've seen, we really haven't seen the Chiefs yet. But who would you have going to the Super Bowl from the NFC and the AFC?
I would have the Eagles coming out of the NFC and the Chiefs coming out of the AFC.
Eagles and Chiefs. Yeah, I think that's kind of been very strongly going in for everybody. Um, I don't think there's any way really around that. Um, other barring upsets, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the Bengals to get back. For me, I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. Um, and then I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers make the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs ultimately win. Um, the 49ers are just so well put together and pretty well coached right now that they're going to kind of play themselves into it, like the 2000s Giants and the two Raiders. They'll get there, but they just won't have the full complete package to beat the Chiefs. I think they'll. Hey,
Yeah, no, I could see
perspectives
that.
change every week. We could see both teams fucking eliminated. So, so that's the beauty of football and predictions. But that's what we're riding with right now while we're hot. While everyone
And
in
the thing
peak
is,
playoff
like,
season.
it would be totally fine to be wrong. Like, if it's entertaining if we just get like a Bills Cowboys, like something that nobody really believes is going to happen. Like, I'm all for it. That has
Right.
Major's '90s vibes to it. So,
God, yeah. I'm trying to think what would be like the absolute would be Jags and Giants. If we got Jags Giants, man.
wow, yeah, I just that right there is like that's a close game for sure. Like, you just know it would be based off the matchup. But man, just not enough, should, not enough star power to go around. Um, got to have a lot of appetizers to sit through that one for sure.
Yeah, just ordering hot wings. Just that Idris Elba meme. Just what the fuck? Just looking at the screen. Christian Kirk fumbling the ball. Like man,
I, I remember in 2014 just watching the Super Bowl at Dad's with Brian Shore, and the Broncos just went down like 43-0 at halftime, and I just ate until my stomach hurt because I was just so disappointed that the game wasn't good. That was an
I,
uncomfortable night.
I remember you telling me about that. My God, yeah, Ah, hilarious. Well,
Just
yeah,
woke up in
guys,
night sweats.
it happens. It can happen. I actually had um ribs last night. Went out and got a whole rack of ribs, street
Mm,
corn, just
damn.
Cajun fries.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. How many entrees were involved? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that was the meal. It was like all of that came together. And then the appetizer was fried pickles. Fried pickles dipped in ranch. Yep. Yeah.
Everything you said would just wash down perfectly with just a michelada. I'm like, man, that's that meal that I just need. I need a michelada with for some reason. Especially when you say street corn.
Yeah. It's good stuff. So yep. Divisional round, guys. Make sure your plates and platters are well stacked for a great weekend of football. I'm gonna be packing this weekend, like getting a haircut, doing laundry. I'll have the games on. But like I said, I'll be in Florida next week. So pod will be in Florida and here. And yeah, it'll be exciting. It'll be some exciting stuff. Playoff football is always probably my favorite time of the year sports wise. Even more so than NBA playoffs or March Madness, bowl season, anything like that. Just because the games are just so, I don't know, so intense. The crowd, just one and done. That's it. Wild card
Right.
dreams.
There's
Just
no there's no
random things can happen.
like to me the NBA finals are just as good as the Super Bowl. A lot of times better, but what you said is true about the playoffs itself. Like the playoff bracket in the NFL that leads up to it is better than the NBA playoff bracket. Just because, like, 7-game series, like, it's a wash. It's on every other night. But then what you said, there's one night to make it happen. Everybody knows, like, in that stadium, there's just this is it. Like, you're either showing up or you're wrapping it up. So there's a level of excitement to it that's not common across other sports. With that series format. So yeah, ready to crack a
Oh,
cold one and see how it
I
goes.
am ready. I saw Dan had texted us about, I don't know. I
The
might be able to get
Rattlers.
out for one game. He said Saturday. Do you want to do? I'll probably be.
Well, I have plans Saturday.
Yeah.
Mike, Mike and Mike and his fam are coming over for dinner that night, so I'll be unavailable. And I work that morning anyway. And then I think Sunday I just already penciled up to just lay in the dark. So, but yeah,
Penciled up to
definitely.
lay in the dark.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a real thing too. I mean, like how it is. You gotta mark the calendar to just nest. But I will be out of the Rattlers game for sure this year. Hopefully 2 to
oh
3.
yeah, we got to get out there. I don't know. I saw the season begins tomorrow, but that's probably just like OTAs and stuff. Like, but we'll dive in. We'll definitely get out to a home game. Willie's Tacos, drop some bets, and then head into the stadium. I'll try to get. I'm trying to see what seats we can get. I'll try to get as close as we can get this year. Just move up a couple rows each time, just on the 50, just reaching into the snake pit.
Last time, it's so funny. Just a random story. Last time I was with I think Dad. I think I went with Dad. Dad and I went to that's the last time I was downtown. I went to a Diamondbacks game, and just before the game, I'm just snapping some fucking first, just high grade elite fluffy on a bench, and some guy just frantically walks up to me, just in hospital scrubs and just dirty wrists, like he's just been living in sewers for days, and he's like, "You got to smoke?" And I was like, "Just this." And he was like, he was looking for a cig, and he just walked right off. Just he wanted no part of the Pineapple Express. I'm like, yeah, this is not the tobacco train. I'm like, if that's what he just boomed. Just as soon as I said that, he was gone. I'm like, yeah, well, interesting times. So it's funny. I actually stashed that J in like an Altoid box and buried it under rocks, and then came back after the game, dug it, out, and smoked the rest. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yes. Love it.
Yep, yep.
Man,
So we'll
too
see.
funny.
Definitely more downtown sports events memories coming up soon. So looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. We'll be out there, guys. Enjoy divisional round. Make sure you go like and subscribe to the page, drop some comments, and we'll see you next time. Fun times await. Enjoy some football.
Yep. Later.